1417, June 6, 2026. Right now marks 2,586 hours of progress on a global heart simulation. Currently, the voxel-based fog of war system that is fully 3D is working, and it can leave a persistent trail of visited areas, and it can also differentiate between currently visible and non-visited and previously visited but currently unseen areas. And it also is able to take height into account, which is a benefit of the voxels or fog of war. So this basically proves that it is possible to use voxels for efficient fog of war, as currently the scene is composed of around 64,000 voxels, and it does work well in game view, although the editor does appear to slow a bit when moving between the different views such as game view and scene view, though actually this example uses 110,000 voxels, so over 100,000 voxels here. It appears to be running. And so basically how this is done is that the scene overall is divided into a bunch of voxels, so as seen here. So there are thousands and thousands of voxels, and in order to know what to hide every single object, it's basically subdivided into its own bounding box, which is then subdivided into voxels, and then it doesn't stop at subdividing them into voxels. It also checks the corners of the bounding box voxels. So corners that are shared between voxels local to an object are tracked, and then those are used to compute which voxels in the larger grid to hide. And so there are also points around the player, which is basically a area of points, then points within a certain radius, not taking height into account, so it basically creates a cylinder of points, and that is used to reveal areas. And so the intention going forward, now that this fog of war seems to be working quite well, and another bit of info is that this basically uses the color buffer and depth buffer to override the pixel color of objects. So by using voxels, a persistent trail can be left, and one of the advantages over the voxels versus a normal texture-based fog of war approach is that the voxels can allow for height data. So the intention going forward is to look into implementing line of sight and also occlusion. Currently what's occurring there is that there's a big wall in the scene, or a border wall at the bottom, and going near that, it blocks the camera and the player. And usually what would happen is to fade those objects. And so the intention going forward is to look into handling multiple floors as well as line of sight, although an algorithm for line of sight for voxels has already been created for in a previous experiment with one of these projects, and that was able to handle line of sight calculations with raycast level precision for hundreds of thousands to a million voxels simultaneously without it impacting performance noticeably. So the intention going forward is to use that algorithm, which should prove very well in this example, as the area for the line of sight does not appear to need to be very large, perhaps a couple thousand voxels, or 100. So the intention going forward, now that the fog of war is working, is to implement line of sight and also look into implementing handling for multiple floors.